We are live. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. So here we are with another high crimes episode. Hopefully some people can show up here for it and whatnot. I don't know how much people we're gonna get. Hopefully 1 million.
Vertical streaming.
What, Drunken Crow? I don't know when you're working your corner. How am I supposed to know when you're working the corner? Exactly, I don't. Except for whenever I need a handy or so. Yeah, we're gonna cover another case of high crimes here. We haven't done this in like 2 years or whatever, 20 years. I don't know how many years.
Jeez.
No, I'm kidding. I don't know how long it's been.
You were doing this on Dank Dumpster.
Yeah, on Dank Dumpster. So what's up, Drunken Crow and Nicholas and Arnie and Paradox? This is not going to be the longest episode ever. It's only an hour-long video here, but everyone, please hit the like button. Let's get the 5 or 10 likes. Let's get the show on the road.
Here, 1 sec. I'm gonna drink.
You're gonna take a shot. Wait a second. Hold on, let me look at this. Oh, never mind. Okay, for a second I thought it wasn't a vertical stream. Okay. What's up, Arnie? But yeah, Drunken Crow, maybe once you get off work we could do another episode or something. I don't know. Maybe. So alright, I guess we'll go ahead and get into the cool guy video. We'll get right into the news. Just fixing this real quick. So I don't know anything about this, like most of these cases, like going blind. So this has to do with some really young looking teenager. She does not look old at all. We'll see what she was doing. Ready, Negan?
Oh yeah, I was born ready.
He was like, let's be Bonnie and Clyde.
So that?
Yeah. I was like, okay. And, I could hear my grandpa just yelling, them fighting, and then I started getting the rush. I started just beating her head with it. It was kind of creepy.
She sounds
She was,
honest.
scared to die.
How did you finally get control of your grandmother? Because in the past, she's eventually been able to handle you, right? She's been able to get the upper hand. What was different this time?
I've always been in control.
By April 2017, the police in Gwinnett County, Georgia were well acquainted with 17-year-old Cassandra Bjorge and her criminal history. But when she found the self-proclaimed Clyde to her Bonnie and Johnny Ryder, Cassie's deviance rose to a whole new level.
Yeah,
What began with an attack would lead the police to discover something far more heinous,
I don't know. Clyde's
including,
kind of dork.
horrifically,
Chad,
the
have you
couple
ever
living
seen
in a
Bonnie and
house
Clyde?
with dead bodies nearby.
Have you seen the film Bonnie and Clyde?
Is that the one where they're like, I don't know. I know there was a movie that I saw that was like a male and a female murder and stuff, and there was like a scene in the beginning
Badlands or Natural Born Killers.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I remember a scene where they're like in a restaurant and there's a jukebox, and I think he says something.
That's
yeah,
what?
it's Natural Born Killer. That's Natural Born Killer.
Okay. Yeah, I've never seen Bonnie and Clyde, probably.
Bonnie and Clyde. It was like it was released the first year they disbanded the Hays Code. I know this is a tangent, but that was before the MPAA. They had this code where it was this long list of things you couldn't have in movies, like they had to sleep in separate beds. So one of the infamous scenes at the end of the movie, or famous scenes, is them getting mowed down with machine gun fodder, and it lasted for several minutes. Them just getting gunned down And that was considered a really graphic and horrific scene. And that was right when the MPA was established and filmmakers had more freedom on what they could put in movies.
Because they shot, if I remember correctly, in the movie they shoot the same amount of shots that the police shot in real life.
Yeah, might have something to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that might be true, Arnie. If so, I'll fix it. But how you doing, Arnie? Did you miss me, babe? I'm gonna take a dab while we continue this.
But even this was only the beginning of their shocking depths of depravity. The majority of the following footage has never been seen before. It has been analyzed.
Yeah, what's up, Troy? We haven't done this in a while.
By a qualified team, including a licensed clinical psychologist, a licensed professional counselor, and a former detective, former licensed polygraph examiner, and former hostage negotiation commander and instructor. Chaos kicked off on April 8th, 2007.
Yeah. They didn't say
job
that.
title.
They didn't say that this was being analyzed by a bunch of stoners either.
Yeah,
That's
they were
what we're
talking. They were talking about us there in the beginning. See?
Well, that job title sounded awesome. What is it? Commander of interrogation? Go back. Just like a few seconds.
By a qualified team, including a licensed clinical psychologist, a licensed professional counselor, and a former detective, former licensed polygraph examiner, and former hostage negotiation commander and instructor.
Hostage negotiation
on
commander
April
and
8th.
instructor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was in charge of talking to...
I'm going to quit my job and get that job just because I like the job title.
Just because it has more words in the name of the job.
Well, you have to
exactly.
be like a really likable, very convincing and likable person, or else things will go bad.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be good at that, Gene. You could be the commander. I'll be the guy that really interrogates them. I'll make them think I'm all on their side. I'm good at that. I'm good. I'll trick them. All right.
8th, 2017, shortly after 8:30 p.m. when police received a call from Tomoko Ryder, Johnny's mom, who had just walked in on an assault in progress in her home. Though none of the responding officers could have possibly known, they were now investigating a bizarre string of violence, and a case that would come to encompass so much more than assault. Mindy Ryder, Johnny's sister, provided this summary of the attack, starting when she and her boyfriend Kevin returned home to eat dinner.
I'm not sure what time it was, but we were about to eat the food we just to go, and I noticed my room is trashed, like everything's been flipped out, like all my purses have been went through, and I told my brother, I know you did this, you and your girlfriend are the only ones that have been home, just own up to it and tell me, I won't call the cops or anything. And at the time he was on the phone with my mom, and he was like, so if I own up to it, you won't call the cops? And I said, yes. So that's when he hung up, and I hung up on the police. I already dialed 911. And then all of a sudden, he goes out and comes back in and just sprays us straight in our faces and starts hitting us and tells his girlfriend to go grab the bat.
19-year-old Johnny and his girlfriend, 17-year-old Cassie Bjorge, then sprayed Mindy and Kevin in the face with bear repellent, which is stronger than typical pepper spray. The attack only escalated from there.
And I see her come in with a bat, and the first thing she does is hit me across my back. And I try to grab it from her, and then she hits me on the head and keeps kicking me in the stomach. And Kevin and Johnny are fighting in my room. So I chase her out to the living room, and I'm trying to grab the bat, and I hear Kevin begging my brother, like, Johnny, please don't do this. You don't have to do this. And I went in the room, and Johnny had Kevin in a chokehold, and my brother's girlfriend was in there with the bat. And so I was able to grab her by her hair and take the bat away from her. And I started hitting my brother, telling him to let go. And then I handed the bat to Kevin. And then Kevin was going to hit my brother, but my brother caught the bat. And then we all fought over the bat. And it was me and my brother on my sofa. And then Kevin grabbed a beer bottle and told Johnny to stop, to just let us go. And we won't do anything. But my brother said he will never do that. And so Kevin hit him on the top of the head with the beer bottle. And it shattered.
So Johnny had a bat, we hold it, and then Johnny was like, bring a hammer. because he couldn't take it by himself, obviously.
And you got hit with the bat too?
Yes, sir. But at first, I kind of blocked it here. Really, I just blocked it, so it was okay. But second time, I got hit my teeth too. He kicked me in the face, so my teeth fell down.
The escalation from attacking with a bat to a hammer was stopped when Johnny and Mindy's mother returned home from work. With the odds no longer in their favor, the two assailants, Johnny and Cassie, fled. However, this would eventually prove to be their downfall. In addition to his damaged tooth, Kevin had injuries to his hands, arms, and ear, not to mention the burning of the bear mace. As for Mindy, it took 7 staples to close a wound on her scalp.
Have any of you guys
and
been
she
sprayed
also
with
had
mace?
welts on her back from the...
No.
No, I like sprayed it on my hand, and I like put my hand like in my eye, so like it got in my eye, and it was like a horrible experience.
Yeah. Could only
I
imagine
couldn't
how hard it
imagine.
is to do bear mace,
Bear.
right?
Yeah.
I think they
I
got
could-
that idea from South Park.
I couldn't imagine that I could put up any sort of fight after being sprayed with bear mace, unless they did a bad job with their aim, right?
Mm.
They actually got me.
Well, if
in
they're
the eyes.
choking you too, you're gonna fight back.
Yeah, I'm not saying I wouldn't fight back, but I'm saying
Well,
I-
it does completely
yeah.
debilitate you. Like,
Yeah.
it's...
Yeah, there's a
That's
reason
pretty
why they use
paralyzing.
it against bears and
Let's
criminals.
do that
and
at the
stuff.
meetup. Let's all
Yes.
No.
I'll get everybody in a straight thing. I'll promise at the end to spray myself, but I won't. It'll be a lie.
The bat. The assault wasn't the only crime committed at the Ryder house that night. In fact, it was only the beginning. Johnny and his girlfriend stole Mindy's car to make their escape. The attackers had also abandoned the vehicle they arrived in. When police ran the plate on that car, they made a shocking discovery. It belonged to a 63-year-old man by the name of Randall Bjorge. The car wasn't the only tie to Randall, though. Randall's granddaughter was Cassie. The first hint that something was wrong actually came over a week prior on March 28, 2017, when Cassie's grandmother, 63-year-old Wendy Bjorge, reported Cassie missing. Wendy and Randall had custody of Cassie for over a year by this point. They'd hoped to help her through some behavioral issues she'd been having, including using drugs and running away. Based
So you
on her
shagged
recent
drugs.
disappearance, though,
Yep,
it seemed
she
that
You
probably
know you're a
did.
terrible kid.
She probably did
Yeah,
the
yeah.
marijuana. What a
Exactly.
piece of shit.
at least one of those issues persisted. When there was still no word from Cassie after a few days, Wendy made this Facebook post asking friends to keep an eye out for her granddaughter. After that, it was radio silence from the Bjorge family. It looked like Wendy and Randall had gone off the grid just like their granddaughter. Concerned, Wendy's sister, who lived in California, asked the Gwinnett County Police to do a welfare check on April 6th, 2 days before the attack at the Ryder house. She had become concerned when she received some text from Wendy's number that didn't quite sound like her, and made her suspect that they'd actually been sent by someone else. Police attempted the welfare check, but left when no one answered the door. Even if police had forced entry, it still would have been far too late to avert tragedy. After what happened at the Ryder house, though, police knew they needed to talk to at least one of the Bjorges. They returned to Wendy and Randall's house looking for answers. This time, when no one answered their knocks, they forced their way in. Nothing could have prepared them for what they were about to find. As they walked into the house, they discovered a mess downstairs, with drugs and paraphernalia scattered about the living room and food left out to rot in the kitchen. It also
Ugh.
appeared as though most of the house had been ransacked. The real horrors, however, were found upstairs, hidden behind the sealed doors to the bathroom and master bedroom. But the truth of what was behind those doors wouldn't be revealed until a shocking interrogation.
They sealed
What
the
police
door
found
shut.
inside added a whole new sense of
Yeah, well, it looks
urgency
like
to the
caulking.
hunt for Johnny and
Yeah.
Cassie. Despite an in-depth search of the residence, Wendy's cell phone was nowhere to be found. The investigators pinged the device and traced it to an apartment building in the nearby town of Sewanee. When police arrived at the location, they had their first stroke of luck in this horrifying and chaotic case. In the parking lot out front was the car stolen from the Ryder house. As it turned out, Johnny and Cassie had sought out sanctuary with an old friend named Jake, perhaps hoping to hide from the manhunt that was looking for them. Iwu obtained an exclusive, never-before-heard interview with Jake, who spoke about Johnny and the events of the fateful night, which led to police arriving at his home the next morning.
I met him in middle school. So 6th grade, we were 12 or 13 years old. He was always a class clown and everything. Very funny, very loud, very outspoken, but also very kind and very polite. I mean, eventually he practically became family. He was at my house every weekend growing up in middle school and early high school.
By mid-high school, however, Jake and Johnny drifted apart as Johnny became more involved with drugs and alcohol. They'd only recently gotten back in touch to have lunch a couple times, but Jake never could have expected what the relationship would bring next.
It was about 10 p.m. and I was at work, and I got the call from my mom that he was at the door. And so when I heard that he was there and that he was crying, I left work immediately and went straight home.
According to Jake, Johnny was accompanied by his girlfriend, who introduced herself as Cassandra. Jake had seen her once in high school, but didn't know her any more than that. That night, he said she was quiet and polite, and didn't give him any indication to suspect a more sinister reason for her presence. They couldn't have known the shocking secrets they were hiding.
That's when things started to take a weird turn.
So she's
He
supposed to
said that
have
he had
some
gotten into a
extensive
fight with his
criminal
mom.
record.
Yeah, like she's like.
I've been
She
like,
probably got-
yeah, I've been like listening. Haven't really been watching, but now that I look at the photos, they look like a couple of like pampered suburbanites.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
she said in the beginning that she's always in control, so I think she was like a
Affluenza.
spoiled,
Yeah.
a spoiled brat or something.
Yeah.
Rio's in
Mom.
waiting.
Which,
But he doesn't know we're doing a show. So talk about other stuff.
at the time didn't seem strange because he has, has fought with his mom plenty of times before. And there's been times where he's been at my house because of it. And that she got so angry that she pepper sprayed him and he ran to the first place he thought of, which was me.
Confused and concerned, Jake and his mom let Johnny and his girlfriend spend the night and work the rest out in the morning. But they had no idea what crises the morning would bring, or what else Cassie and Johnny had already done.
Just when we thought it was just basically a family member, old family member coming in a time for help was really, one of the most traumatizing days I've ever had.
Despite the horrors to come, the day actually started like any other.
I woke up the next morning and he was, talking to my family like how he always did when we were kids, treating them like a parent, treating me like a brother, was drinking coffee outside, catching up. And when I went to take my dog out, that's when I started to realize that things were turning for the worst. At the time, our building faced out towards the parking lot. And every day I see the same cars. But that day there was a blacked out Suburban right in front of our house, which I thought was really strange. And go back in, have a cup of coffee. And next thing I hear...
Suburban?
Yeah.
Suburban.
Yeah, car. It's a truck.
Okay.
Yeah.
From my room was a blowhorn basically calling out my apartment number and Johnny's name to come outside. And it took me a second because you're not expecting to hear that at 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning until finally the second time it happened, I got up and I started walking down my hallway. And next thing I know, there's red dot sights on the walls on my body.
Jake said that instinct took over, and he collected his sister and his mother, who had recently started to use a wheelchair, and prepared to exit the apartment. Unfortunately for the family, the horror was just beginning.
As we're about to go out the door, I see Johnny grab a knife, and I was like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he was like, what I thought could have been coming to stab me was him coming to give me a hug. and say he's so sorry. And he's sorry for doing this, sorry for everything. He told me that he loved me, and he wishes he didn't bring this on us and my family. And I just kind of froze, and he dropped the knife, gave my sister a hug, said the same thing, and then we went outside to every freaking cop in the county there, a few SWAT vans, and an ambulance.
Johnny and Cassie were still inside. Initially, the SWAT team and other investigators resolved to wait them out until they were contacted by Johnny's mother, who had received a concerning voicemail from her son.
Hey, Ma, it's Johnny. I'm crazy. I'm evil. I'm sorry. Tell Mindy I'm sorry. Tell Kevin I'm sorry. I'm not well. I'm dying as we speak. I love you. I'll see you later, okay?
I'll see you later.
Police
Gotta love
no
that.
longer had the luxury.
You gotta love that. I'll see you later at the end of it. I'm dying. I'll see you later.
Yeah, he doesn't sound too sure of himself. He says he's evil and then he's sorry. Usually evil people aren't remorseful.
Yeah, well, maybe. I mean, like, it depends on what his definition of evil is in the moment and everything.
Subjective, Megan.
Yeah, I doubt he's going by textbook definition of crazy. It's whatever his version.
I don't think there is a
in his brain.
textbook definition of crazy or evil.
There isn't a specific definition of these.
But
kind of
Textbook
this girl, she couldn't have been that good. She couldn't have been worth doing all this shit for. Like, it seems like they killed the grandparents and then, and then like 2 days later attacked the sister and her boyfriend, and then they fled to this other dude's house and got arrested. This girl like convinced him to kill the grandparents, I bet.
Yeah, he was pussy whipped. Pussy whipped. Being pussy whipped can cause bad things, right, Timmy?
That's what happens when you have sex as a teenager.
Because, yeah.
It drives you crazy.
Yeah, that's why Gene's so weird.
Free of time to wait Johnny and Cassie out. However, they also knew that the pair could be dangerous, which meant that rushing inside could be foolish. With this in mind, police decided to make an entry using a video and audio-equipped robot. Robots are often used in situations where officer safety is a major concern. Obviously, it's preferable to sacrifice tech instead of human life. Depending on the needs of the situation, the robot can make deliveries or even use weapons or flashbangs. It also has video capabilities that allow law enforcement to get a good...
I think it was in California. He killed 3 cops, and they sent in a robot to invest or to negotiate with him. Well, to negotiate with him, and then they ended up using it to neutralize him. And then, people were freaking out with the police officers and stuff, because now whenever they try to use the robots again to negotiate, they're probably just going to assume that it's going to be used to neutralize them and so forth. So, yeah. So it reminds me of that controversy.
Yeah. What's up, red guy in Young Mind? Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff that needs to be the future of us dealing with situations like this. This is really cool seeing them drive a robot in for this instead of just do the same old procedure that puts people's lives at risk.
Look inside a hideout, all from a safe distance away.
You still need a patent my
Even better,
shooter,
all footage and audio recorded by the robot is admissible in court. Right away, the robot revealed a concerning stain on the carpet outside the bathroom.
Johnny, Cassie, say something so we can see that you're okay.
Neither Johnny nor Cassie responded, And when the robot forced its way past the bathroom door, it became clear as to why.
That's dope that it can open doors.
Realizing that Cassie and Johnny were in danger, the SWAT team took over and rushed inside to provide medical assistance. Unfortunately, the resulting damage to the apartment left Jake's family in a very difficult financial situation, and they ultimately had to find a different place to live.
Why would they want to do that?
Do what?
That family could have capitalized off of it. Be like, hey, y'all know that fucking crazy shit that went down? Well, here's like where they caught the town's modern day Bonnie and Clyde. Like, come and pay $5 to see my bedroom where they tried off, or my bathroom where they tried.
I don't think that would be that lucrative.
Try to profit off of it.
I don't think that many people would pay to see this specific case. I think maybe like, hey, this is the house to this infamous killing.
You
maybe
could
that
probably for a short period of time when there's a lot of attention in the town.
Get an even nicer new house.
I could imagine maybe making a few grand off of it, tops or something like. But I don't know about new house. I don't know. I can imagine you could charge like $50 a person or something and have a good bit of people that end up coming through. Yeah. God, ref audio.
Johnny and Cassie were rushed to the hospital to receive emergency treatment. For the time being, it was unclear if these injuries were self-inflicted or if the couple had turned on each other once they realized they were caught. There would be no answers to those questions or any others if Cassie and Johnny didn't survive. Thankfully for investigators, after a few days, doctors at the hospital determined that Johnny was stable enough for an interview.
So, I mean, we do like to
Rio says they want
find
to come
out,
in.
you know, what happened, and
I told them that we're streaming.
And kind of get your side of the story of what's been going on the past few days.
Yeah, tell them to go to the Dank Dumpster.
Just been at the hospital.
Mm-hmm. Would you like to talk about is that your girlfriend, Cassie, or is it just a friend, or what? Yeah, she's fine. No, she's fine. No one's told you anything, or? Yeah, she's fine. How long you guys been dating?
A lifetime. I can't live without Cassie. Like, I don't know.
Can't live without Cassie.
I never felt like this about any other girl.
This is a bold statement from 19-year-old Johnny, considering he'd previously been married and only finalized his divorce about 2 weeks prior.
How fucking old is he?
19.
Yeah.
I think she was more upset because people were trying to help her, and from what I was told, she's a fighter and she's kind of a pistol, hard to deal with sometimes. Okay, that being said, obviously we want to talk to you about some specific stuff. You're kind of not free to go. You're here at the hospital, so
Free to go?
You're not free to go. You're here at the hospital.
Free to go.
So in order for me to ask you some specific questions, I got to read your rights.
Johnny had likely been through this before, as he'd just finished serving jail time for entering automobiles and obstructing an officer.
Are you okay talking with us right now without an attorney?
I don't really feel comfortable here.
Well, I don't feel comfortable here at the hospital either, so.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable talking about it. Maybe I want to talk to like a court-appointed attorney and then just like talk to them, because I don't feel right.
Well, this may be our last shot on talking to you, because I decided to talk to you first, because I already know kind of what's been going on. I know Cassie's background. I know things that have been said. I know what's going on with her family. I already spoke to your family. I kind of know what's going on with your family. Obviously, you being a man, I'm being a man. We're all men here. I want to come first to you, man up, and let's talk about what the heck happened.
I don't know. I have ADD. Like, I'm a really deep thinker, but like, I would really like to talk to a counselor or psychiatrist.
I'm a really deep
to see
thinker.
What the hell is wrong with me?
Yeah, ADD
Without
really helps with
Johnny's
that.
consent, police had no choice but to wrap the
Yeah, you gotta love that. I have ADD. I'm a really deep thinker. Like.
I'm pretty sure it causes problems in that area.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Like,
yeah, he's evil, but he's sorry.
I have a really hard time focusing on one subject, but I'm a really deep thinker. I really go deep into thinking about one subject constantly. Like, really,
there's people out there that they think that having any psych disorder is like a superpower. Yeah, like having this condition, it really makes you really exceptional in every area and really helps you think more eccentrically, unlike those normies.
Yeah.
things up and take their questions elsewhere.
This
Luckily
guy's the
for them,
greatest.
there was another potential
He's the
source of
greatest.
Yeah, I bet you this is the dude that he's the best at all video games and sports that he does in. And he's like, oh, like if you're talking about like playing basketball or something, he's like, oh, bro, you'll want me on your team, bro.
I have
dope.
ADD.
I'm dope at hoops.
If you guys want, you can tip to get me to chug, and I don't know, maybe some other people on here want to do stuff, smoke a little bit or something. You guys can get us a little more stoned or whatever, you know?
I'm pretty fried.
Yeah, you're lying.
information just down the hall. With no answers from Johnny, police were likely very aware that a conversation with Cassie was their last chance to get a first-hand explanation for the brutal disaster scene at the Bjorge house and the chaos that followed. With that in mind, they sent in an officer that Cassie knew and who was familiar with her situation. He was accompanied by someone from the district attorney's office. It was through this interview that a bizarre, horrific, and unexpected story began to unravel.
What happened here?
I tried to kill myself.
Why would you do that, sweetie? Tell me why.
I couldn't take it anymore. I didn't know where else to go. I didn't know what else to do. And then, like, one night, I just got, like, really angry and depressed. And I don't know, I just felt like the whole world was kind of just, like, collapsing on me. And I just wanted to end it.
This isn't the real reason they're talking to Cassie.
Yeah.
And also not
Did
just...
you catch that, Negan? How old is she? I didn't catch it.
Like 17. She was 17 when this happened.
She looks like she's like 10.
Yeah, she looks really young.
Yeah, I would have guessed more like 15, but yeah, something like that.
I'm really bad at guessing people's age.
Yeah.
Just because of what happened at the Ryder house, there's a far more chilling story lurking in the background of Cassie and
here
Johnny's
she looks
crime
15.
spree.
I think you know why I'm here. I just need to understand why. Talk to me, please. What I can't talk to you unless you be honest with me.
I wasn't the one who intentionally thought about doing that.
Thought about doing what?
Say it. Once you say it, it's out.
Killing my grandparents.
This admission was a horrible confirmation of what police already suspected. Tragically, Wendy and Randall's bodies were found inside their house when police forced entry. Based on their condition, it was estimated that they'd been dead for about a week by that time. In an exclusive interview with Ewu, Chris Bjorge, Wendy and Randall's son and Cassie's uncle, recalled hearing the terrible news for the first time when a family movie night was interrupted by a call from the police department.
I wonder what movie it was.
Yeah, now that's the tragedy. That's the real tragedy here. The fucking movie night was interrupted. That's the.
It depends on the movie.
It does. Yeah, that's true. It better not have.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, they were watching Bonnie and Clyde. Oh my god,
so weird.
Let me get a lighter real quick.
This happened this happened in 2017, I think it said. Trying to think of like what films were popular around that time.
What, 2000 what?
17. Yeah, like movies that were like not in theaters. I think they said this happened in March. 2017. So it'd be like movies on DVD or probably on Redbox or something.
Okay.
It's probably some stupid Adam Sandler fucking movie, like Don't Mess with the Zohan or Grown Ups 2 or some shit.
The Shape of Water.
I get a call back. Probably about 10 or 15 minutes later, and he's like, Mr. Bjorge, I'm so sorry, but we found them. So what do you mean you found them? What does that mean? He said, we found them. They both been killed. They've been murdered. I'm like, are you sure about that? He's like, yeah, there's no question. You know, were they perfect? Absolutely not. You know, but I loved my parents, you know, flaws and all. But it's not what they deserved.
Cassie's admission to the murders would turn out to be the least shocking detail of what she would tell investigators once she was transported to the police station for a more formal interview.
There you go. You can have a seat right here.
They're always getting the McDonald's. Like, most of these videos are just a big like McDonald's advertisement. Like,
they're doing it to get a confession out of them.
Yeah, I know. It's funny though. We just constantly see, like, most of the time it's McDonald's.
Pull you in a little bit.
Did you ever see the one interview where the guy just tricks the cops into just getting them food, and he like doesn't tell them anything, and he gets like multiple orders of different fast food places, and he's like there like for like 15 hours or something, and he's a homeless guy, and he had nothing to do with the crime, but the fact that he was homeless, they thought that he was there or something like that, but he had like there was proof like where he was actually at when the crime took place. And everything that the cops were telling him, he was just finding out just so that he could, like, when they realized he was just like bullshitting them, he said that he was just wanting to find stuff out for like the neighborhood gossip.
I'm gonna do the same thing, except I'm gonna be like, "Can I get a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos?" Like, okay, and then I'll be like, "You need anything else?" Yeah, another bag of Cool Ranch Doritos.
Is that your to-go-to one?
Yeah, and then by the time I'm done,
go-to drink?
Soda, root beer, but I don't know. I like drinking green tea a lot and stuff.
Arizona green tea?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it would be funny, a whole table of Cool Ranch Doritos.
You guys use the bathroom?
Okay. Can you grab the cutters?
Yep.
Despite the seriousness of her circumstances, Cassie doesn't seem too worried while waiting for police to come back with a tool to remove the flexicuffs around her arms.
Oh, let me get these things off, yeah.
Okay.
You are doing all right eating?
I was getting there.
The last McDonald's cheeseburger you're gonna have for a while, bitch.
Thick. Let me do it away from you so I don't...
Stab me.
Yeah. Well,
what do you think that she's gonna say, that like her boyfriend's the one that like let her in on, like he was like she's gonna cry like, I was just following what he was telling me to do, and in reality it's the other way around, like she manipulated this fucking dweeb into doing this shit?
I feel like you're going in the right direction. She's probably gonna play victim with it and try to throw him under the bus.
How long do you think that they got? Like, how many years?
I don't know. How many people were dead?
Got more because they usually give women more lenient sentences.
Did they go? I thought they went to a different house and did. Or okay, they assaulted people at the other house.
But they didn't kill him.
Yeah. I'm gonna say 25.
That's what I was thinking. 25 to life.
Yeah, 25. Snap it
Feel
off.
better?
Yes. Thank you.
With that handled, the investigators settled down to eat with Cassie. It's unusual that everyone is eating together and an out-of-the-box approach. Though likely a non-standard, it's a very interesting tactic to establishing rapport. It plays into the natural association to relax while eating and will likely be very effective. As the group eats, the investigator set about getting to know Cassie better.
You into sports? Obviously, I guess was told the karate stuff.
Kung Fu, yeah.
What's up with that stuff?
Mm,
Is it kung fu? Is that what it's called?
well, I did this martial arts called Tang Sudo for 6 years, and that's South Korean. And then I grew out of that, and then I found Shaolin Gong Fu, which is basically Kung Fu, but that's what they call it in Chinese. And so I started doing that, and I've been doing that for 4 or 5 years.
I actually heard you're pretty good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's going to help
Yeah,
Crown
I'm good
Prison?
at
I was
tournaments.
confident.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm good at tournaments all the time. I went to China for a month last year.
Wendy and Randall made the trip to China possible for Cassie.
It's good to have that
According to
experience.
friends and family,
Man, she was a spoiled bitch, it sounds like, so far. Like, I've never even been out of the country. My parents aren't flying me out of the country for stuff like I don't know. That definitely was happening to me as a kid.
they'd
What
hope
do you
that this
think of? It's like spoiled little like rich kids, but they want to act all ghetto. It's like, do you know that weird like kind of reverse element where they want to act all tough and stuff, and they go out of their way to try to act all street like Justin Bieber, but they're a bunch of prissy little white kids that grew up in suburbanite land.
Yeah.
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 Well, I'm
sounds
getting
like
this
Eugene.
the sense here, like she's like some affluenza kid.
Yeah, I
and then
bet
they-
when nobody's
they-
around, I could see her kind of like acting like a tough ass bitch, you
Yeah.
know, trying to act all gangsta or something. I could see it probably. I mean, she just killed some people, so it wouldn't surprise me that she could maybe do
trip,
motherfucker.
along with a
Motherfucker,
subsequent visit to
motherfucker.
Disney World, would help Cassie get a fresh start after moving in with them. But even this generosity wasn't enough to protect them from her wrath.
Did you go? Did you graduate high school or?
No,
Actually, you're only
still a junior,
okay.
technically.
At Duluth?
No, I do online now. It's K-12 International. I stopped going to Duluth in 2015
Okay.
because that was around the time where like all the stuff was happening with my parents and stuff, and I started getting scared going to school because my stepdad would literally come on campus looking around the whole campus just to find me. Like he was going in classrooms and stuff, so I had to get like a restraining order.
Well, I don't want kind of to make you upset or make you relive anything, but I just got some follow-up questions I'd like to ask you. Do you remember when you read your rights and all that?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you understand all them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cassie has read her rights, and then the police got down to business. They started things off easy by asking about Johnny, likely trying to get a feel for the relationship at the heart of such terrible violence.
Was you and Johnny pretty tight? Did you have feelings for him, or just kind of a boyfriend type thing, or?
I have feelings.
Yeah.
I still have feelings for him.
I gotcha.
I care about him.
I guess I'm gonna ask a corny question. Is
He's
it
the
love?
Clyde
or
of my body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what he told me. After Ty B, we went to Atlanta, and we were on like this, I don't know, it was like this parking lot thing, and we got to see like the whole city. And he told me that when we were sitting up there, that like for a second he looked at me and I looked at him, and he told me that all he could see was just me and then purple around me. And he said like purple is like a sign of love. And he said like ever since then, like it was like love at first sight or something.
What the
Is
fuck?
he okay?
That's
Yeah, he's
cringe.
fine. So
Is
he,
he-
sends his
That's weird. I saw purple.
regards and all that stuff. So
Is he doing okay?
no, he's fine.
All over your
Yeah,
face.
He actually is better off than you. You know, they weren't that deep or anything. So he didn't.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I could have sworn he did worse than me because I remember when we were in the bathroom, because he did it with me too. He kept going and I kept telling him to stop. So
Yeah, his maybe this tougher skin. I don't really know.
At this point, it was time for the police to ask Cassie some harder questions. Regardless of her forthright demeanor, police already knew from what they found in the house that Cassie was keeping some of her more callous actions to herself. They just had to get her to admit it. As she tells her story again in the interrogation room, there are key changes and omissions from the one she told while at the hospital, leaving the officers the task of piecing together the horrific truth.
The plan was that we were both going to get both of our families, but first we got my grandparents. Then that's why we went over to Johnny's house and we attacked his sister and her boyfriend because he wanted to kill his family.
Okay.
So that's like, we stayed in town for a couple days because, we wanted to get some money, we wanted to get ready to leave.
Not only that, they say it so casually, like they just...
Yeah.
And it's weird how they say it so casually.
It's one thing if you don't care, but if it's like you're the kind of unethical person that's going to kill and shit like that, it's like, might as well do everything you can to stay out of prison.
Yeah,
like,
you would think that would be...
Yeah.
You would think that would be their mentality, but they just like... It's kids or people like this that don't even seem to care about it from the beginning. It's like when they went into the house, there's food on the ground and stuff like that. They were just like hanging out, having fun in the place for probably a couple hours, eating whatever, like just throwing it on the ground. It's like, fuck this place. Like
got ADD.
They're not, you could tell they're not putting any sort of like...
No, maybe they were like, look like a burglary or something like that.
Maybe, but it seems like they weren't even trying to cover up their tracks. They were just going wild.
I think them like planning it and prepping it, they probably like try to desensitize themselves to like gore, and like they probably ran it through in their head some like what it's going to be like actually going through the killing more than going through with like the plan of getting out, how to get away with it. Like they focus too much on the killing and not the getting away part, and that's why she's so like desensitized and can say it so casually, because she's ran that part through her head and probably talked to her boyfriend about it the most.
I think it's just like psychopathy. That's usually when people kill and they don't feel remorse.
Yes, it does seem more like it's something more deep with her brain having some sort of mental disorder or something here.
And then that plan just going over to his house kind of just like it didn't work out at all. It went downhill from there.
The plan had been to take out Johnny's family members one by one, but the plan was obliterated from the get-go because Mindy's boyfriend was present when they arrived. When Johnny's mother showed before Mindy and Kevin had been subdued, Johnny and Cassie abandoned the savage attempt. Clearly, the assault that had kicked off the investigation in the first place wasn't an assault at all, but rather attempted murder.
That was Johnny's idea, because then that's the reason why he asked me if I wanted to kill my grandparents, because he wanted to already kill his family. And he was like, let's be Bonnie and Clyde.
Despite Johnny's questionable aspirations, Cassie didn't say that any of this struck her as a bad idea. In fact, it seems likely that Cassie and Johnny were a dangerous mix of two antisocial personalities. They seemed to fuel each other's anger. Had they not joined forces, it's very possible that individually they wouldn't have been able to go through with the plan. But they were both willing to do the unthinkable together, becoming the ultimate toxic personality mix.
So I guess let's start from scratch.
Negative synergy.
What happened, starting from when you ran away, I guess?
The new GTA is like a Bonnie and Clyde story.
That sounds interesting. I heard that you play a female or something.
Yeah, and you play as her boyfriend too.
Is it GTA 6?
Yeah.
When's that coming out?
I think 2025.
Actually, makes me really want to play it.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
It's supposed to be
modern
towards the end of 2025. But yeah, I'm looking.
It probably is.
None of the GTA games have allowed you to play as women, have they?
Yeah, number 2 and online, you can have your character be a female.
Online.
Yeah, I mean you are you are a female.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking about the story and the the woman or the second one.
Yeah, and the second one's like the bird's eye view one. There's 3 different women and 3 different men that you can choose to be, I'm pretty sure.
All right.
I was gonna say a lot of feminists would probably be like, "Oh, the first one where you're allowed to play with a woman, they have you. You have to have a male escort."
Her tits are too big.
Yeah.
1st, do you remember, or 28th or something like that?
I didn't really run away. My grandma like kicked me out.
Okay.
Cause like this is what happened. Like I was chilling with Johnny and my other friend
grandma.
Sabrina, and I
Fucking
came home
grandma.
because it was.
It'd be funny to
curfew,
take voice
because I didn't
samples
wanna
from this,
violate
put it
my
on
probation,
GTA
so I came
6 footage. Like,
Yeah.
where she said he wanted to be like a modern day Bonnie and Clyde, and like put like footage of that game on it.
Yeah, it's like one of the jobs on there during one scene.
home, and my grandpa was asleep, and my grandma got really mad at me, and she was like saying like, "Oh, if you don't like it here, we're just gonna find somewhere else for you to stay." And she just said that out of the blue. Like she just got really mad for some reason. And so I was just like, if you're gonna find another place for me to stay, I'm just gonna leave. I'm just gonna find somewhere else to go. So
I do
Cassie
think it's
goes
fucked
a
up when
little bit
parents do
deeper with
that.
the
Like,
answer.
I'll kick you out when their kid's a minor. They like don't really seem to get that, I guess, dynamic that they're not really a tenant. Your
I
kids.
agree.
Yeah.
But also, imagine how crazy of a kid she might have really been. Grandma, like, I definitely agree with you.
that could be.
But this is some girl that, she might have been so unhinged and hard to deal with that, grandma was pulling her hair out and ready to off herself over the, who knows? I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, look at what she's done and stuff. Like, she acts all calm here in this interview and stuff or whatever, interrogation, whatever. But could you imagine her like?
Yeah, having to deal with her.
Yeah,
I do think this is the exception, like with the grandparents. But I do know a lot of people that do that, where it's like, I'll kick you out and stuff, and it's just, why don't you leave? And it's just, why don't you leave? You're talking about a 12-year-old.
I'll just say it. If this is the type of problem you get whenever you don't like discipline your children the correct way. If she just would have got her ass
took away her
spanked, when she's
coloring.
being a
Whoa,
slut-
calm down. No, calm
I
down.
don't agree with that.
Calm down.
No, you don't agree with that?
I don't. No, all of the science shows that corporal punishment doesn't work.
Make her nose be in the corner. And
well, I'm saying that a lot of times, it could be psychopathy, so sometimes it's more genetic factors than environmental factors. I mean, sometimes a kid is just a psychopath. But the other thing is, it's also neglect. So I just do think it's weird when you look at video. Like, I was watching this video of this one kid having a meltdown in this school, and people are leaving comments like, this is what happens when you don't hit your kids. It's like, the kid could be mentally ill, or it could also be that he's a victim of neglect. Like, he's going home and he has a mother who's like an alcoholic and has no support or guidance. And the science shows that usually cases where kids really do misbehave, it's usually child neglect is the biggest element, not spoiling kids. And usually
they didn't really say why she was living with her grandparents neither.
Yeah. But that could be a reason. She could have, so usually dysfunctional parenting, which permissive parenting is a type of dysfunctional parenting, but that attitude of when kids misbehave, it's probably because their parents need to assault them more and hit them more. It's like, no, it's usually it is because their parents assault them and are emotionally, physically abusive that they act out. And in fact, when parents physically abuse their kids or use corporal punishments, their kids are more likely to engage in violence in school and elsewhere.
Yeah. All right, enough with the crazy words.
Answer she gave in the hospital.
We kept bringing up stuff about my
I
mom.
was supposed to say Minecraft.
And my grandma kept saying oh, I could easily just send you back to your mom's house, or all this and that, and it just. I don't know.
Colored with her and talk to her and figure out what the deal is.
Despite Cassie claiming Wendy kicked her out, it sounds more like Wendy was expressing concern that Cassie was still struggling in her new situation. In fact, according to Chris Bjorge, the family had already agreed upon a solution.
So I spoke to Cassie a couple times, and I said, "Hey, kid, I don't know if you remember, Uncle Chris or not. I held you a couple times when you were a baby. what's going on? And she said, well, I got to get out of here. There's just so many things that are going on. And I said, okay, well, how about you come in and live with us?
Chris and Cassie seemed friendly and agreeable to moving in with him and his wife in Florida. However, he shared that Wendy and Randall did not mention just how dangerous her behavior and aggression towards them had become. As it turned out, Cassie never did make it to Florida, instead running off with Johnny, and this wasn't the first time Cassie had run away from her grandparents. Wendy reported Cassie missing once before when she disappeared with her ex-boyfriend Tyler and was gone for over a month. When Cassie took off again, this time with Johnny, her grandparents might have expected a similar scenario to play out, ending with Cassie's eventual return. For the next few days, it did. Cassie lived with Johnny in his car, and it wasn't until one particular conversation that the dominoes of disaster started to fall.
So you,
Like that.
so I guess when you decided to go back
started
to your grandparents' house in the middle of the night?
It was like a couple days after, like 2 or 3 days.
Mm-hmm. You remember Saturday, Sunday? Do you have exact?
I don't really remember. Like I didn't really even know like what day it was that we went into the house.
And before you did that, did you and Johnny meet up somewhere at a park or something to talk about what's going on?
We went to Peace Ridge Park and we talked about it. At first, it wasn't my idea at first.
How did you even get, I guess, what was said? How did you even bring up? What was the context?
He first asked me, "Are you afraid to die?" And I said no. And then I asked him, "Are you afraid to die?" And he said no. And he was just talking about how we could like run away together, that kind of like dream. And he asked me, he was like, "Would you kill your grandparents?" And I kind of like hesitated for a minute. And I was like, "Why?" And he was just like,
was that her response? It's like, would you kill your grandparents? It's like, I was just like, why?
Why? Like,
I don't know, maybe.
I guess I think about it sometimes.
That I've been through with all of my family. And he understands that, like, all I really wanted to do was just kind of get away from everything, kind of just move on with myself. Like, I wasn't having a good relationship with my grandparents. Like, it started getting really bad, like, that I got a charge from them because, like, I fought them,
You know what's unfortunate about all this? Is, like, all charges, like, when you're a minor, aren't they, like, dropped unless it's, like, a felony?
No, they can charge kids as adults, and they do it all the time. And they'll even charge kids as adults for stupid things.
No, like even
burglary.
if they get like a charge or something like that, like once they're like an adult or whatever, it's not like.
No, they can charge them as an adult, and they do that a lot. And in fact,
if it's a felon, that's if it's a felony. But like misdemeanors, it doesn't like convert over or whatever.
Well, felonies aren't supposed to convert over either, but it depends on what kind of felony it is. But the point is, they have to decide on whether they charge you as an adult. And if they don't charge you as an adult, then your record will be stricken once you turn 18.
Yeah, that's what I think her charges were, like the simple battery. It's a Class A misdemeanor. She was so close to just like becoming an adult and legally just say like being allowed to say "fuck you, I'm moving." Like, like she didn't. If she just would have waited like another year or so, she just could have done it. Like she could have been kicked out. Like her grandparents actually could have kicked her out then.
Yeah, but one fucked up thing is like in America, apparently, like your race and what zip code you live in and like what wealth bracket you live in, that has more of like a correlation with whether you're charged as an adult than the actual type of crime or even the age of the child.
I might have broken like my grandpa's ribs when, for that charge for simple assault and simple battery, and it just got really worse.
Cassie uses the phrase "you know" a lot here, and it's a way for her to try to convince them that they should understand her actions.
Was your mom ever part of the plan?
Of killing them?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to.
Was it something you and Johnny discussed, or is it something you just thought of?
Well, I mean, we did discuss it, but then Johnny was like, no, we can't waste our time on them. And I was like, okay. But I wanted to.
Johnny kind of told you not to,
Yeah.
that it wouldn't be beneficial?
Yeah, because, I don't know what's really going on with my parents. I mean, we drove over by their house the other day. They have new cars. I don't know what guns they have in their house. I don't really know what's going on inside their house. So, I mean, I don't know.
You didn't know what you would be met with.
Yeah, I didn't.
Whereas your grandparents, you knew it was kind of a safe bet.
Currently she does kind of sound
chosen.
like the average teenage girl talking. She doesn't sound that like atypical.
Yeah, but you can't. Shut up. She's a jerk.
You
okay?
know who also talks like that?
Who?
You know what I'm saying.
You know
bro.
what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying, bro. You know.
Come on,
what I'm
Pete.
saying.
Oh.
No, we're talking about.
Your animal.
No. We're talking about Jared. We're talking about Jared.
Oh,
Genesis.
isn't that? You know what I am saying? Isn't that Hannibal's thing?
I think maybe. I think maybe Hannibal said it a lot. It was
Yeah.
like it's a meme that within their
Yeah.
thing. Something like that.
All that remained was for Cassie and Johnny to iron out the details of their evil plan.
But how we started talking about it was like we started out like with what time should we go over to the house, how are we gonna do this, like what materials do we need to do this. So we started talking about that, and then so we decided to go around like midnight or 1:30 because my grandma normally went to sleep around like 11.
See, like, we were thinking that, at least me and Negan, I was thinking that the idea was probably right, that she was just gonna try to play innocent and throw the boyfriend under the bus, but it seems like she's just, like, an open book when it comes to this whole thing. She doesn't even care. She's just like, yeah, this is how it went. She doesn't
wanted to do it. I wanted to kill him.
Yeah, that she doesn't seem to hold back at all, or even care to.
It kind of seems like in a lot of these cases, especially with like kids, that like they'll buy them food, things like that. They'll try to like cozy up to them, and it's kind of like they sort of like I'm a killer. And they don't really, it seems like they kind of feed into that ego thing, and then they kind of just ignore the like element of trying to get away with it.
Yeah.
I think the fast food and all the high sugar and
something
stuff
in the
is
food.
Yeah.
No, it's just like they've been in jail for how long? How many days? I bet fast food would be like you have like a high from it almost. I know sometimes when I eat fast food, I get like real sleepy and like it's like too much sugar at once.
I would think that she wasn't in jail for long for this interview. It was probably like almost right after kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like maybe like a couple of days.
I think a couple days.
Maybe.
I wouldn't think that. I think they would want to interview her like as quickly as possible. You don't want her.
She was originally at the hospital because her cuts were worse.
Yeah, as soon as she's healed and it's possible to interview her, like they need to do it ASAP. I would think makes sense.
It looks like Sherry's got her jail gear on though.
Yeah, well, when she came in, they probably automatically have her undressed and changed into a gown, like, and they maybe threw her in a cell for a couple hours. I would imagine this is how it would go, and then they'd be interviewing.
I'm pretty sure they interrogate them pretty quickly. I mean,
it's a murder of multiple people and assault of.
I believe the longest amount of time they might have them wait is like a night. Because maybe they need the people who are the like interrogators, the detectives, maybe
other people or something.
Yeah, so the most would just be Yeah, kept overnight.
Yeah,
12.
I would think, but want to get to
So,
it quickly. Probably.
We decided, like, you know, we would park down the road, and then the park was literally like right behind my backyard. And so I unlocked the back door. I was able to open the back door a little bit and not have the stuff in front of the door fall and make a noise. So I was able to like maneuver in, and then I moved the stuff in front of the door, and then I got Johnny in, and then we closed the door and locked it.
And then would you guys kind of just hang out downstairs, or did you start moving upstairs? Or?
We went upstairs. We didn't immediately go upstairs. Like, we went to the stairs, and then we were like just listening, just hearing what was going on, and we thought everything was good. And then we went upstairs, and
Did you guys have anything in your hands, or you just?
yeah, I had what's it called? It's one of those car tools.
Is it to do a tire, or
Yeah,
is it to
tire
fix
iron.
it?
It was a tire iron. So I had one of those.
Where'd you get that at?
Johnny's car. He had one in his car.
His Honda or whatever.
And Johnny just used his fist. And he brought a black book bag that had duct tape in it, and it had the tire
Are his
iron
fists
in
going to
it,
be
and it had
classified as a lethal
gloves in
weapon?
it, because we were also wearing gloves too.
It seems like Cassie was taking orders from Johnny, suggesting that unlike his idol Clyde, he was the mastermind while Cassie provided the means to get in the home. Johnny likely knew how Cassie felt about her family situation and her dysfunctional home environment, so he offered her a way out, a plan that may have sounded to Cassie like a solution to her suffering.
So who's first up the stairs? Is it you and he's kind of following you, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I go upstairs, he goes into my grandpa's room, and then I go into my grandma's room.
Do you hear kind of what's going on over there, and does that kind of cue you off to with your grandmother there?
Yeah, he started going at it, and then, you know, I could hear my grandpa just yelling, you know, them fighting, and then I started getting the rush, and then, you know, like, that's when I started hitting my grandma in the head.
So you took the tire iron, is it just?
I started just beating her head with it.
Based on Cassie's manner of speaking, she sounds like a typical teenager, but at the same time, she's completely emotionally detached from the incident and from her horrific actions, which some may point out as being psychopathic. As for the crime scene itself, there was no denying that the attack on Wendy was brutal. Chris Bjorge once again offered some insight into what the aftermath of the attack was like.
When I first went to Georgia, the first place that we stopped was the funeral home where they were. The funeral home workers said, there's no way that we're going to let you see them. It's just way, way too bad.
Wendy and Randall were cremated as the state of their bodies was simply too poor for restoration. Chris went on to talk about how sad it is that his parents only ever got to meet one of his children, and that his kids were robbed of the opportunity to have their grandparents. For now, Chris still keeps Wendy and Randall's ashes, and says he may one day scatter them when he feels ready. Back with Cassie, the police continued gathering details.
Was that the first hit?
Yeah.
The back of the head?
Yeah. That's where I mainly hit her in the head. She bit me.
I think I took a picture of that yesterday, right?
Yeah, she bit me in my finger too, but I forgot which finger. It was on my right hand. I think it was either like my middle finger or it was that one.
And when you and your grandmother used to get into it, that's kind of how did she bite you before to kind of get you off her or whatnot?
Yeah, she's bitten me before.
When do you meet back up with Johnny? Do you leave your grandmother there?
You ever bitten somebody, Chad?
So I started hitting.
I don't know, but it's just crazy thinking of this happening. It's crazy. It bothers me thinking of this. What she's explaining. And imagine you did this like just within the last day, and then you're talking about it so nonchalant. It's just like, how can she talk about it without being in like some sort of just, I don't know.
She's not a pussy like you, Shad.
Yeah, she's not a pussy.
She's hardcore.
Yeah.
I'm glad I love my grandparents.
I hate my grandparents. I might do this.
Oh, whoa. On Minecraft, calm down.
I don't think the algorithms can pick up on when I say I might do this.
My grandma, and I already had duct tape, and then, you know, Johnny.
Seriously, do you honestly think
Shush, we're watching a video, Gene.
And, you know, I stopped hearing Johnny doing whatever. So he comes in the room with me and my grandma, and, you know, he helps me, like, tie up my grandma with the duct tape.
How did you do that? Is it just her hands or?
I got her hands, I got her whole head, and then I got her ankles.
Okay, with her hands, I guess.
Just behind her back.
So it's like, just like this?
Yeah.
Fun.
What about anything on her head or neck, or did you?
Yeah, we kind of, like, wrapped the duct tape around her head-ish. And then that was it.
What was that for? Just
so then she kept it on.
Oh, okay.
Or just got it.
And you said her ankles too?
Mm-hmm.
And Johnny helped you tie her up?
Yeah, I mean, I mostly did it, but I needed, like, a little bit of help because, you know,
Yeah, I
she
did
was,
most of the work.
you know, moving around and stuff. And so he helped me a little bit, and then he went back into my grandpa's room.
It
I could have
shows a
done it without
profound lack of empathy that Cassie was able to continue on with the act, despite her grandmother still being alive. At the hospital, Cassie had shared some additional disturbing details about the attack.
What did Johnny do to your grandpa?
Beat him.
With his fists?
Police found bloody handprints on the wall above the bed and footprints on the sheets, suggesting that when Johnny decided his fists weren't strong enough, he resorted to stomping on Randall.
What else?
He got a knife, a big kitchen knife. He stabbed him and slit his throat. And made him bleed out in front of my grandma because we dragged my grandma into the room because my grandma was sleeping in the other room.
Well, she had duct tape behind her back.
Yeah, we duct taped her too. Yeah, so Johnny started beating my grandpa and I started beating my grandma. And I could just hear, like, the blood, you know, just gushing, and I could just hear my grandpa in pain. And then I was fighting with my grandma. Like, I wasn't saying, she didn't know it was us.
Yeah, so this was the first interview with her at the hospital. Then the next one we watched was, like, probably a day later or so or something, if not less.
Seems like she got all the trauma out in time.
Yeah. Within a day or something. It's like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. I'm over it now.
Because we were masked
Grandma was a
up,
bitch
you know?
anyway.
You had masks on?
Yeah.
You know
Like,
how?
well, not masked.
I'm sorry. You know how, like, people who do, like, things to women and children in men's jail, they're treated poorly. I imagine in women's prison, like, women who do things to elderly, because, like, I imagine if you do things to elderly people, like, in a guy's prison, that's, like, looked down upon too. But, like, I think women, it would mean, like,
It probably,
I don't know, they would care more that you attacked, like, your grandparents or whatever.
they probably, yeah, had the same attitude. You attacked, men, they'd probably do the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
he killed an elder, so they probably do the same thing. Where it's like, even if a person killed their husband in a woman's prison, I could see them being like, God, she slit her husband's throat, and then in their sleep in Minecraft, and like, sorry, Shav, I call myself, but yeah, I could see them having the same kind of ethics.
They were just kind of like teachers.
Don't cover shit like this, Shav, if you don't want people to have those slip ups.
Like a mask.
Your grandmother never said your name.
No, she didn't
Fuck
know.
you, you were
was
thinking
us.
it.
You swore that to me.
She didn't know.
I'd rather
I
hang out with
swear.
a lady
She didn't know it
who
was
murdered
us.
her
She had no
husband.
idea.
A short time later,
Hang out
however,
with the
Cassie
lady who
slipped.
murdered her grandma.
What is up with this dude? Is this really him after this thing? Like, look at this guy. He's so crazy. He's just smiling like he just graduated or something. Like, it's, yay.
Well, he did graduate. He committed his first murder. And now he's going to, yeah.
Yeah, and then the second arc is when they break out of the prison, and then they're on the run, like Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah,
I just don't get it.
God. Just not only is she like just wow, but like just think of this guy with this smirk on his face after what he did. It's just like, and he's caught and everything. This is just crazy.
He's gonna make somebody else very happy too.
Oh my
She looks,
God. What a weirdo.
She looks like she's 10 in this mugshot.
Yeah.
Yeah. She looks like 10, 11, 12. Like, she looks like she's dressing up as someone, you know, doing a Halloween thing or something. You want some candy?
Steps up and admits that she and Johnny spoke during the attack. Therefore, there's little doubt that Wendy and Randall knew exactly
What is up with the thing that he's wearing? Does anybody know?
It's a suicide vest.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
who caused their suffering. Just a few moments later, she makes another serious mistake.
He picked out which knife he wanted.
Which one?
It's the sharpest one. It was like the biggest one. And then he started using it on my grandpa. And then he slit his throat.
Pause there. We. You said we started using it on my grandpa.
No, him. Sorry, it was him. I didn't touch my grandpa. I didn't use the knife on my grandpa. That was all.
Oh, never mind. She did try to hide some stuff. It sounds like okay.
So he was the one who did it.
Back in the interrogation room, it seems that Cassie has ironed out more of the details of her story, with some noticeable changes. She doesn't mention masks, and she doesn't mention not talking.
What were you doing when you went back in your grandpa's room?
I was still with my grandma, and then...
In her room?
Yeah, and then I dragged her into my grandpa's room, and then Johnny asked me to go get some knives. So I got some knives from downstairs in the kitchen, and I got 3 big butcher knives. And then that's when he started stabbing my grandpa, because then I went back upstairs because I dragged my grandma into my grandpa's room, so they were both in there. Mm-hmm. And then I asked her for the code to her safe, because I already knew that she had a safe in her closet. I just didn't know it was in the safe. So, I mean...
Did she tell you?
Yeah, I mean, she kept saying, I'll give you money, I'll give you my keys, I'll give you anything you want. But,
we're trying to bribe her daughter
was she able to talk with the duct tape around her face?
Yeah, she was mumbling. You could still understand her, but at the same time you couldn't.
Cassie basically described how her grandmother pleaded for her life. This sort of scenario could elicit emotion from even the most psychopathic of murderers, particularly since it was coming from the psychopath's own grandmother. Still, Cassie continued on with the act.
When Johnny's stabbing your grandfather, is it mainly in the torso or? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he just, I don't know why he did that, but he just kept going.
How many times? More than 2, more 5?
More than 5.
Okay.
It was more than 5.
While she was still in the hospital, Cassie revealed yet another twisted element to the attack, having to do with why she dragged Wendy into her grandfather's room.
Why did you drag her in there? Why would you do that? Make me understand that. Why would you drag her?
Did she not give you the code? Is that why you did it?
No.
When did she give you the code? At what point did she give you the code?
She gave me the code after I dragged her into the room.
So you did it so that she would tell you, know that you were serious.
Yeah.
Forcing Wendy to watch her husband's brutal murder is torturous. But even with that, there was more to Cassie's confession that came out at the police station.
So she told us the code, and, I went in the closet because that's where they kept the safe. So, I go in there, I'm checking out all the stuff, and I grab the book bag, and I just start stuffing the book bag with everything, there was envelopes just filled with money. There was probably about $1,000 that we found in that safe that they were just saving. And
did you know that was money?
Bro, we're rich.
Dude.
We can live on $1,000.
Yeah, what the fuck? What the fuck?
We can live like kings.
Yeah,
we can live like kings.
When she said envelopes full of money, I'm like, and then she's like $1,000, and it's like, huh? Like what?
What's enough to get a motel room and a?
That's enough for some stuff.
Yeah.
Gene, what country would you have to move to live like a king with $1,000 US?
I don't know. I looked into it. There are some motels on the Mexican-American border that it's something it's less than $100 a week.
Oh shit!
That seemed pretty fucking cheap. So it's I don't know. Motel living seems like the way to go if you want to live on the cheap and everything.
There was a whole
$100
in there. I was mind blown. I was like, babe, we're gonna live off this for years. We're gonna get a mansion.
No.
We're set.
We're set for life, babe. $100 whole.
We won the lottery here.
Yay!
She was kind of giving me an idea about it before.
It was all worth it in the end.
What if I just gave you
how many chicken nuggets we could get?
Yeah, motel living.
That's good. Yeah, you know how many chicken nuggets we can get, babe. We're set for life.
I'm just no, I don't want $1,000, So, she kept saying that, and then, when I saw it, I was just wow, she actually had $1,000 in her safe. Like, that's crazy.
Why is that crazy? Oh my god. She's so young and
Well,
whatever.
Even when I was like in high school, I understood $1,000 isn't that much. I mean,
yeah, it is, but it isn't. It's like you don't it's not this. It's not opening up a safe and stealing stuff. It's like, wow, a whole 1,000.
Like enough to.
I just imagine them going to McDonald's and like playing that Lil Wayne song "I Make It Rain," and they're like throwing nuggets on each other.
Yeah, but 1,000's not even enough. Where if you like want to take out a lease like on your apartment and you want to like get an apartment for the first time, you got to pay like the first and last month's rent, then all the insurance. So usually it's like a little over 1,000 just to get your first apartment.
Yeah, like 1,500, I'd say is like a good average.
So it's not even enough to like if you just want to start living on your own, like getting an apartment.
Yeah, when she said envelopes full of money, if I would have paused there and guessed, I would have been like, yeah, 50 grand probably. And she's like, oh, 1,000. Okay, all right, on with the video.
Cassie's tone here
That's
is
so
an indication
crazy.
of her immaturity, as she likely doesn't realize that $1,000 won't get her and Johnny very far if they're planning to run away, especially once Cassie reveals they failed to manage their funds.
You got $1,000 in cash. Did you spend it all, or do you have it all?
We spent it all.
Okay.
On food, money, weed.
And the money you were going
And
to
an
potentially
Xbox.
get from Johnny's family?
Wait, did she say that she spent the money on money?
Yeah. No.
Hold on.
On
Yeah,
silver, in case of like the end of the world. They're prepping.
It's like, wow, she actually had $1,000 in her safe. Like,
Oh, I
that's
skipped too
crazy.
far back, but whatever.
Cassie's
There you
tone
go.
here is an indication of her immaturity, as she likely doesn't realize that $1,000 won't get her and Johnny very far if they're planning to run away, especially once Cassie reveals they failed to manage their funds.
You got $1,000 in cash. Did you spend it all, or do you have it all?
We spent it all.
Okay.
On food, money, weed.
We spent it all.
Wait.
Yeah, we spent all the money on food, money, and weed. You know.
The money you were going to potentially get
Gosh.
from Johnny's family was going to be what you were going to start new with?
Yeah.
Where were you going to go?
Make some
afterwards?
investments, like invested in like some firearms, and then in Minecraft, like do some Bonnie. Do some Bonnie and Clyde. There you go. That's how they
Well, they
they make
money.
$1,000 and they turn it into like $10,000.
No, they just went to the bank and bought more money.
We
That's how,
invested in an
that's how it
NFT.
works. Yeah.
Okay. Anywhere in particular?
Maybe like Pensacola, Panama City, just somewhere, where we could just like escape.
Pensacola was only a few hundred
from it
miles
all.
away and doesn't seem like a very far way to run after a crime so heinous. Apparently, though, the aspirational Bonnie and Clyde thought the distance would be...
Guys, help me out with the goal at the bottom of the screen.
Wait, so
There's a
Where?
link pinned at the top of the chat. Tip to make me drink, guys. I got plenty of beer. What, Gene?
So where did they flee to after this?
sufficient.
Because if
They went to their buddy Jake's house.
Oh,
but how far away was that? Because they thought $1,000 was a lot, and they said they thought that was a far enough distance. So I'm wondering.
Maybe like Pensacola, Panama City, just somewhere, where we could just like escape.
Pensacola was only a few hundred miles away and doesn't seem like a very far way to run after a crime so heinous.
Oh my God.
Apparently, though, the aspirational Bonnie and Clyde thought the distance would be sufficient. You may remember that Chris
Dude, do they
Bjorge,
live in
who
a
Cassie
box?
was supposed to go live with,
Mm.
also lived in Florida. Police questioned if he was next on the couple's hit list, but it didn't appear that they had any plans to target him or even visit his area.
So you guys put that stuff in a bag, and then basically Johnny's in your grandpa's room with your grandpa and your grandma in the room. Do you come back in there and say, hey, I got this stuff? Or what? Okay.
Yeah, I go back into the room and I tell him that I got the stuff. And after that, he slits my grandpa's throat. And then we drag my grandma into the bathroom.
What was the reason for that? Just to bring her to the bathroom?
Yeah, I don't know why we brought her back into the bathroom. I guess we didn't want to bring her into the bedroom.
Okay.
So we just brought her into the bathroom. And then Johnny slit her throat too.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually hit her in the back of the head with the tire iron. Well, not the back of the head, but like right where your spine is. Because he was telling me, he was like, if you hit right there, like just one like good hit, you can just knock the person out and then they'll be dead. And she was like pretending to be dead for a while. Like I would, check up on her and
That
I would
dishonest
see that she was still
motherfucker.
breathing, and I'd be like, she's still alive.
What a bastard.
And then like Johnny finally.
That's the real crime here. He was wrong. He was wrong.
Like last blow, and it was kind of creepy because she was like scared to die.
Cool.
This is a particularly
She was like scared to die. I just don't get it. Like, what the heck's wrong with these people?
shocking statement, because what exactly did Cassie expect? Her grandmother not to be scared in her last moments as she's being brutally attacked? Once again, Cassie's emotional hospital interview revealed something intriguing.
He was the one who like ended it for both of them because I couldn't do it. I couldn't. He kept he had knives too. Like he slit both of their necks, and I couldn't do it. So he did it because I couldn't. She was staying strong for a while, like she was pretending to be dead, but we could see that she was still breathing. And she did that for a while, and then Johnny knocked her out in the back, a pressure point, right where your spine is.
So you said the last blow though
was just the last hit,
last hit with the tire iron.
Mm-hmm.
And who did that? You were Johnny.
Johnny
Had her throat already been slit?
And then after he did that, then he slit her throat.
Wendy's body was retrieved from the bathroom, along with one of the knives, pieces of duct tape used to restrain her, and a pair of scissors. Tragically, Wendy's final Facebook post was made on the same day that she was murdered by the very girl she was trying to protect. But perhaps the most sorrowful detail came from Chris's recollection of the Bjorge house after the crime.
They loved Cassie. They adored her. When we got to the house after all this happened, the house was still wreck. There was the smell of decay, the smell of weed. It was awful going there. And
Ew, the smell
everywhere
of weed.
you looked, there was pictures of Cassie. They absolutely loved her.
That's the worst.
The investigators, however,
Ew.
had to keep digging into Cassie's increasingly horrific tale.
Kind of walk me through what was going on in your head. I mean, was it, like you said, the rush where it's go time, I just need to do what the fuck we came here to do?
Yeah.
Or was it fuck them, they gave me curfew, they deserved it,
It was
let's get this shit going?
It's both.
Both?
Honestly. I stopped doing Kung Fu for a while just because, my mind wasn't there. All of my feelings were in my
How good do you think
emotions
she
were
is at
all
Kung
over the
Fu?
place, and I wasn't able to focus.
Uh-huh.
So that really affected
How good do you
my
think she is at Kung Fu?
But when I was there,
I don't know.
They didn't
I don't
mention
know.
what what level belt she was.
Well, I knew a lot of kids that did martial arts, and they were usually pretty dorky kids. They were like, I'm the black belt at karate, so therefore I know how to fight. And they usually did the camps, the rec leagues, where it's every kid gets a trophy.
There
And
was
it's
two
just,
kids in my high school that did karate, and they were bad motherfuckers. You didn't fuck with them.
I'm not saying all kids. I'm saying there are kids that they.
One of
they
them's a cop now.
Yeah, some of them take legit martial arts and stuff, and they're good. But then there are a lot of kids that did the camps and stuff where they had the everyone gets a trophy kind of approach. A lot of those kids are really dorky, and you saw some of them get into fights, and it's like a bitch boy slap fight. They do karate, but then they get punched in the face and they don't know what to do.
Nicholas makes a good point. He said, I will say in a lot of the Dank Dumpster stories, they just want to buy weed. And yes, that's proof that weed turns people into
Crazy.
murderers.
Well,
Yeah,
if they
turns
don't get
them
the
crazy.
weed, as long as they get enough
Yeah,
weed, they're
yeah.
fine. But they don't get their weed, and then
So you better make sure I get weed at the fucking meetup.
It seems
Gene.
like they smoked weed after they murdered him too, because he said the house reeked like weed. So
Yeah.
they probably killed him and then hung out, and trashed the house, got stoned, and then made the house look crazy.
They took the $1,000, got some weed and stuff, and yeah.
it's
a lot of weed money.
Just all of my emotions kind of just came out when it was happening. I was just angry and I was sad, but I was heartbroken at the same time, because it was just why did all of this stuff have to, happen with my family, Like, why did I have to deal with all this bullshit, And I just kind of really got tired of it, and I couldn't handle it anymore. Like, I just kept exploding inside almost. Like, I wanted to just run away and just be by myself with someone, and just start my life. Like, I was just tired of being...
And Grandma and Grandpa were your biggest hurdles?
Yeah.
Is that how you saw them?
I have a strange way of seeing things upside down.
As your biggest hurdle?
That was her Facebook post.
Close to being with Johnny?
No, they were my biggest hurdles because of probation.
Okay.
If I didn't get probation, like, I wouldn't be in this, I don't know, like, probation kind of really messed me up because, I was going to get a job, I was going to, like, start getting money, just, starting my life. And once I got probation, it kind of just, like, really messed up everything,
As Cassie attempted to explain her motive, things started to make less sense. It's hard to imagine a double homicide leading to the start of a good life. Additionally, Cassie mentioned several times that she wanted to get away from her family, but never explains why she needed to murder them in order to accomplish this. She could have easily disappeared with Johnny to another city or state. What was likely stopping her was money, or lack thereof. She makes it sound like her grandparents were a barrier, stopping her from getting away once and for all.
Yeah, they're rich now.
But really, it seems that Cassie needed to kill them in order to get the cash she suspected they had in the safe.
Obviously, when you guys were done with everything, you had some blood on you, I bet.
Yeah, I had some blood on my face.
Okay. Did you change clothes?
Yeah.
Were you in the house when you changed your clothes?
Yes.
You had extra clothes because you lived there.
Yeah.
And what about Johnny? Did Johnny have to change clothes?
Yes.
Or what'd you guys do with those clothes?
We put them in a trash bag, and I think we left the trash bag in my grandpa's car.
Okay.
With the knives that he used. It was all in, like, one trash bag.
I mean, then did you guys pretty much just leave the upstairs, or?
Yeah, well, after that, then we closed the doors, and then we were just checking around, seeing if everything was okay, and then I started grabbing my clothes and start stuffing bags with my clothes, and then Johnny's, walking around doing his thing, checking to make sure that they were both dead, and checking to make sure if we didn't forget anything. Then we left, and then we came back to the house.
When you guys left, where'd you guys go to?
We went over to, like, Kroger or Publix to go get something to eat, and then we went back to the house, and we just kind of, like, chilled there.
That's right. They chilled there with the bodies of her grandparents nearby while they ate. Typically, if a person can eat after committing such a horrific act...
Said that's a lot of, like, cleanup. They can just do it later.
Yeah.
It's an indication of a lack of remorse and a total emotional disconnect from the victims. Something Cassie didn't mention was that they abandoned Johnny's car outside the grocery store they visited and switched to driving Randall's car. But she's still withholding a few despicable secrets.
When you guys were, I guess, together for the 2, 3, however many days at the house, when you guys left, did you go to make any purchases to buy some new clothes using credit cards or anything?
Yeah.
We got receipts in that. So do you remember whose credit card you used?
It was my grandma's credit card.
In reality, Cassie and Johnny were in the house with the bodies for a week.
What about men? They carry wallets.
What the fuck?
Wallet.
I couldn't find his wallet, so I had no idea where it was.
That's why they put the clock. That's why they put the clocking up on the door. I bet they put the clocking up on the doors to contain the smell.
Oh my god.
We found his wallet.
You probably get used to it.
Smart guy, because we almost didn't find it.
His wallet and his cell phone were under his bed.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess that's where he started hiding it.
It's eerie how this makes Cassie laugh. Her jovial reaction and laughter are indications that this was all a game, like someone solved a riddle for her and she found it amusing. Cassie also admitted that she first took Wendy's phone during the attack to prevent her from calling for help. She also confessed to impersonating Wendy when concerned family members reached out.
Now, when family from California was trying to contact your grandma, tell me about that.
I took her phone.
And?
I told them that everything was okay.
You did. You sent the message?
Yeah, I was texting There was other people too.
What do you mean other people? Like other friends of theirs trying to reach out?
Yeah.
You texted all those people also?
No. I just texted Sylvia.
What did you text?
Everything's okay. Don't worry. I'm fine. And then they started freaking out. Like, there was this lady named, like, Denise. And a couple other people that I don't know. They're, like, my grandma's friends. And they were just like, hey, I hope you're okay. Blah, blah, blah. I didn't even open the text. Like, I just sort of read them and then just ignored them.
Police had acquired some other shocking evidence, and it was time for them to reveal what they knew.
Did you guys ever chill with anyone during that week at all, or no?
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we chilled with some of his friends, some of my friends, and kind of a mixture of both of our friends. Because we sort of had, like, the same friends-ish. Like, yeah, we would just
sorta,
talk with them.
you know?
We would just go meet up with them. We would never have anyone come over to the house. We were just like, that's a no. That's a big no-no.
But I wonder
This
why.
is a lie, and the truth, when revealed, is even more horrific than you can imagine. The investigators would revisit the question of Cassie's.
They were like throwing disco parties in the rooms with the dead bodies with all their friends. Like, yeah.
Interactions with her friends.
That's what that one kid did. There's a kid that went to my high school who murdered his family, and he had a party afterwards.
Yeah.
I'm thinking he had the party just he thought that maybe it would cover everything up. Like, a party happened and there's a bunch of a bunch of noise and stuff, clutter. And it's like, I don't know what happened during this party. That's what happened with Fatty Arbuckle. He's like a famous old actor that got away with murder. He had a party at like his hotel, and this one random actress died. And it's like, how the fuck did she die? And that's something that was like the O.J. Simpson trial of like the 20s.
Wow.
Yeah, lots of us get away with murder, Jim. Okay, I do it all the time.
Lots of rich people.
For the time being, they learned that Cassie even went to her martial arts class just like normal that week and slept in the TV room downstairs to stay away from the decaying bodies of her grandparents.
Did you do anything to the doors, or?
Johnny did. He glued the doors.
Okay.
He went in my garage and found what's it called? I don't know.
Caulk.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Caulk.
What? Just.
He just did that. He just decided to do that. He didn't tell me. I just watched him and I was just like, okay.
Once again, Cassie isn't telling the full truth here, holding back the disturbing reason why Johnny caulked the doors closed. Investigators will push her for that final damning information soon enough.
Was there ever a snapping point, or, do you feel bad about what happened? Do you think she deserves what happened, or what, how are you feeling right now? I'm not in your shoes,
With my grandparents?
Yeah.
I feel terrible. I feel like the worst person on the planet.
feel really
but at
bad.
the same time, it was kind of just like...
we can tell. She said she feels like the worst person on the planet. Yeah, I don't think she feels like that. I think anybody who really felt that about themselves would be like in a horrific state.
Should be in fetal position.
Yeah, crying and stuff like that. Like, no, she seems pretty cool and fine and dandy, eating her McDonald's and talking about slitting throats. Yeah, right. Yeah, I feel so bad.
No, I feel heartbroken, but I don't know. It's really weird.
I feel like heartbroken.
Yeah, I feel so bad. Hold on, let me take a selfie. Okay, all right, back. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, I feel so bad.
Really sad
I
about
slit her
it,
throat.
there was so much stuff going on between me and my grandparents already. Like I couldn't handle it anymore.
Like you said with his follow-up question, though, did they deserve it? Did Grandma deserve it? Did Grandpa deserve it? Or was it kind of just more getting away from your own family?
It was more kind of just getting away.
You don't think that Grandma did anything?
I was pretty pissed at her for, the couple times that, she would call the cops on me for, no reason sometimes, or, a lot of the stuff that she would say would be really offensive because it would be about my mom.
As you remember, Cassie wanted to include her mother in the string of murders she and Johnny planned to commit, so it doesn't really track that she would be so offended by her grandmother's remarks. Regardless, Cassie clearly demonstrates that she had some built-up anger toward her grandmother, but it's still unclear what she thought her grandfather did to be subjected to such an awful murder.
Who did you have a more contentious relationship with? Who was the one you were butting heads with all the time?
My grandma.
Your grandma more so than your grandpa?
Yeah, I couldn't
She's
talk
like
to
my grandma.
I did not have a real good relationship with him. Like before we did, but then I don't know, like I wasn't able to talk to him.
A person who was truly traumatized by the event would struggle to verbalize or even think about the story. The memories of what occurred would be far too painful to cope with for any typical individual. Cassie speaks very matter-of-factly, as if killing her grandparents was the same as committing any other minor violation of the law. Despite recalling her horrific actions, Cassie remains unruffled while the officers take a quick break.
Bullshit.
But her
She feels
attitude
so
is finally
terrible.
about to change. Instead of questioning her story further, the investigators decided to confront Cassie with evidence of exactly what she'd been trying to hide from them.
Hey, do me a favor. You gotta take a look at that. That's you and him, right? Is that at your grandparents' house? It sure looks like the living room of your grandparents' house.
How would that be possible?
Who's taking that?
That couldn't be at my grandparents' house. There was no one at my grandparents' house, so that could have been at my grandparents' house.
Well, I mean, I didn't shit this out. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Who, you know what I'm saying?
No,
Say I didn't shit this out.
That must.
Yeah, he's trying to say like he didn't fabricate it or something. This is a video.
Have been before.
This is the video police just showed Cassie, which seemed to elicit her first emotional reaction in her second interrogation so far. The question is why?
People have to say about you, like, I don't listen to people, like, I love you. You kick ass.
Who's over here?
That might have been like.
But your grandparents didn't like Johnny, so when was he at your house much?
Like he didn't go to my house at all. Like I mean, that couldn't have been at my house. That had to be in someone else's house because we had no one at my house. It was just me and Johnny.
I mean, you've been honest with me. I saw that, and obviously I've been at your grandparents' house. You know what your grandparents' house looks like, and just even the stuff said almost seems after the fact. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Johnny wasn't allowed at the house at all, as Wendy and Randall considered him a bad influence on Cassie, rightfully so. While it was possible that Johnny
Maybe
had
if they
snuck
didn't do
inside
that, he
for a
wouldn't have had
visit,
animosity.
the
towards them.
investigators suspected a far
maybe
more
that's why.
sinister explanation. Cassie is left alone for just a few moments before the investigators return to drop another bomb.
Hey, Cassie, who's Sunshine?
Sunshine?
Uh-huh.
She's one of my friends.
Was she at your grandparents' house?
She's been there before.
Was she there during
there
you guys were
before.
hanging out there? You sure? Or?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember having anyone over at my house.
Just as Cassie had been holding back key parts of the story, the investigators hadn't told her
that
outright
video they
that
showed
they
her,
already know what
she's
she's
the
been
victim.
trying
It's
to
just a bunch
hide,
of like
or
CG
that they'd
deepfakes.
already been in touch with some of her friends, including Sunshine, who was able to confirm the final
Sunshine!
shocking piece of the puzzle.
Sunshine.
Did you ever hang out with Cassie at her grandparents' house?
I had a dog growing up named Sunshine, but I ain't ever met a bitch named Sunshine. Okay.
That might have been
Alright.
her nickname, not her
Yeah,
like, birth name.
yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
You probably already know where I'm getting with this.
Yes, I was inside the house while they were dead. I didn't know that they were dead.
No. Yeah, that's understandable. Just, I guess let's back up then. When, because that's the main thing, obviously I'm
I
curious.
don't know when exactly it was, but they had been inside the house for a while because you could smell it once you walked inside the house.
Now you're saying it smells like shit. What did it?
I didn't think anything of it because...
Did you ever ask him, like, why does it?
I did, and Johnny said that it was just because he hadn't flushed the toilet.
The police left Cassie
God.
alone for a short time again.
He hadn't.
And this
flushed the
time, she
toilet.
appeared to show some real
Dude,
emotion.
does he have like, what is it,
It
Crohn's
was
disease,
short-lived,
IBD or
however,
something?
as the police soon return, armed with Sunshine's story, to confront Cassie again.
Oh no!
I'm cold.
We got a problem, man. I mean, as you know, I'm a cool dude. So is she. Okay, I've been doing this longer than you've been alive. Okay, I'm a no bullshitter. I don't know what those DA investigators. I don't know.
He
what
loves
type
the word
of,
shit.
You know, how many times they talk to you or that. We're different in that aspect. Okay, I'm cool as shit with you. If you're cool as shit with me.
Shit.
Starts, I have a problem. I believe.
I don't like all the shit talk. I don't like all the shit stirring.
Yeah, don't be shit.
Don't give me shit. I won't give you shit. You don't give me shit.
Don't be
Okay, you
shitting
little
me.
shit. Yeah.
Okay.
If it was probably only Sunshine.
I mean, I just want no if or anything like that. Unfortunately, you're in this. Okay, there's no saving face right now.
So a lot of this was on the news, okay, as you could imagine. So he's been getting phone calls about you inviting people over to your house. So who was there?
The only person who I can think of would be Sunshine and her boyfriend.
While it might be true that they were the only visitors, multiple friends and acquaintances of Cassie told police that they'd received invitations to the house that week. They all turned her down for various reasons. If Cassie had it her way,
Yeah, no, you're crazy. Sorry.
there would have been far more visitors.
So for all these people to be inside your house, we're going to both have to assume that it was after you guys killed your grandparents.
I'll be straight up, dude. We heard about a conversation that took place inside there where someone was bitching about the smell. And Johnny's like, no, dude, it's just sewage. There's a sewage problem upstairs. Is this not?
That never came up.
Now, that could be rumors. You know how when kids talk, rumors.
That never was a conversation that came up. The only
It's just kids that don't like them in
people who
school.
came over
That's
to
it.
the house was Sunshine.
So they did come over to the house after you killed your grandparents.
Yeah, I mean, all of it was like one big rush. You know, I don't remember what day they came over, but
I'm not asking for a day. I'm just asking for in 7 days after you guys killed your grandparents and before you went to go attack Johnny's family.
yeah,
Sunshine and Alex were at your house.
yes.
Cassie's story was changing consistently. As if what Cassie had shared already isn't shocking enough, officers also found recordings of Cassie and Johnny being intimate, filmed inside the house after her grandparents were killed. Finally, the last of Cassie's cruelty was about to be revealed.
Johnny, you said glues and what we know to be cocks the doors. Was that immediately after or was that before people came over?
I was before.
I like what Nicholas Rosa
Okay.
says. He says that saying shit makes dumb people feel more comfortable.
Yeah, it made me feel nice inside. We should keep saying that.
Before police.
Shad is a dumb fuck. I'm sorry,
You
Shad.
poured bleach under my
Shit,
grandma?
shit,
And you
shit,
left one of the bleach bottles in the
Shitty shit,
bathroom next to
fuck.
grandma.
Yeah,
Why did you pour bleach on them?
Johnny told me to.
For the smell?
Guys, everyone that's here, help me with the goal at the bottom of the screen. Why are we still $0 in? Where's Paradox? He's supposed to be my drinking buddy.
When did you pour the bleach on them?
It was like a couple days after. Like, it was like before we left the house to go chill with some friends. Like, we did it before anyone came over to the house.
With that, the awful truth is at last exposed. Before taking Cassie for fingerprints and photographs, the investigators leave her with some parting thoughts.
Okay, let me ask you this then. You literally have showed no emotion towards your grandparents, and I don't have a problem. Like, I don't know the life that you were having, and I guess I can kind of understand that you wanted to sever that part of your life and start over again, okay? But why are you showing emotion with when I brought up Sunshine? What the hell is this chick? You know what I'm saying?
She's just a close friend. She was there most of the time when I was going through the stuff with my parents.
Anything else? It only seems that you're sorry you got caught that you had people over after. You don't seem to be sorry that you killed your grandparents.
I am.
I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting you know. Knock if you need anything.
Cassie was able to remain mostly void of any extreme emotions for nearly 2 hours as she talked with the investigators.
I feel
However,
like probably at this point she's mostly just crying because it's like I'm in trouble. I'm in big shit.
Oh yeah,
She got a
That
tummy
is-
ache. She got a tummy ache from that McDonald's.
Yeah,
that is something they'll talk about when like killers like they get caught or convicted and then they start breaking down in tears. They cry just because they got caught. It's not because they feel sorry.
Yeah, exactly. I would, you know, I would think
It's
right
not
here.
that
that's completely what this is. It's just like, oh, I got caught. I'm in big trouble. Aww.
Now the consequences of what she did may be sinking in. Her distress didn't last long, though. Her behavior just a short while later indicates exactly how seriously she takes her actions.
What the fuck?
You make that same face sometimes.
Yeah, but I look cuter when I do it. She looks like a monster when she's doing this stuff.
Yeah, you look like an
By
ugly
the time
fuck
the
when you
case
do it.
came to court,
No,
the
no,
wannabe
sorry.
outlaw couple were not as close as they once were. Johnny and Cassie reportedly broke up, and each blamed the other for the crime. Eventually, they both pled guilty to charges of murder, aggravated assault, and theft. They were both given 2 life sentences plus 21 years, and will be eligible for parole after 60 years. Before being escorted from the courtroom, Johnny read a prepared statement apologizing for his actions. His former friend Jake speculated that if he hadn't met Cassie, he wouldn't have gone down such a dark path in life. Despite the horror of his parents' deaths, Chris chooses to live life as a survivor rather than a victim, and prefers to focus on the joy he finds in memories of his parents rather than the tragedy of their death.
My mom, she was very proud of the fact that she was short and ornery, but her mouth made up for her height. You know, and that's not bad mouthing her. That's something that she said all the time. She was a wisecracker. She was fun to be around. So I try to honor them every day with what it is that we do.
Damn,
There it
dude,
is.
that's so sad.
Shab, if you murdered somebody with like your significant other in Minecraft, would you throw them under the bus?
Yeah, right away.
Would you throw a party at the
Yes.
house?
Yes,
Yeah.
a disco party.
Well, it depends on who it is that you actually, want
Disco
live.
party. Disco party. Alright, so can't believe we didn't make any progress on the goal. That tells me
I
that
know.
we're canceling high crimes.
All you
We
guys
tried
suck.
to come back. We tried to come back with high crimes, and there's just nobody supporting the goal for high crimes. So I'll never do high crimes again. I give up.
Yeah.
Okay, it's back to
You have a
fucking
terrible audience,
Chatterbait.
Shab.
Back to Chatterbait I go. Okay, when I show my asshole to old ladies on there, they throw me money. Okay, they fucking throw me money.
I mean, you could always just go back to Fortnite.
Ew.
Fortnite is the greatest.
No, Crusader Kings 3.
Yes.
Everything got
Nicholas.
quiet.
Shut up! I was reading something that was important. Someone else talking. That's not you, Jane. Okay. God, it's Nicholas. All right, so I guess I'm gonna end this stream and go do Fortnite. So we can actually hit a goal, damn it. Alright, so thank you guys for watching. Everyone hit the like button and stuff.
You're all worse
surprised
than
we didn't-
Hitler because you guys didn't donate.
Yeah, you're all like Hitler. So peace out. See you guys. See you guys
Hitler
here
also
soon.
didn't donate to Shabisky.
Yeah, it's true. He
Just
never
keep
did.
that in
That
mind.
ass.